Hello, this is GG Game 17, and I'm back with my game hangouts, or whatever this is at this point. I don't even know. I don't even care. Like, I honestly, I've been contemplating whether or not I should make this for a while now. Like, I didn't know whether I should or should not do it. But I think I've made my decision, and I'm going to do it. Well, I'm looking at the live reaction right now. I mean, my video, live stream, whatever. Apparently, it has an ad on it. I didn't monetize it. I guess it monetized itself. If that's the case, then I'll try to keep I guess, the swearing to a minimum, or as low as I can keep it down. But anyway, I've been contemplating whether or not I should make this video slash stream because, and I'm talking about for like a while now, like weeks, months, even maybe like a month or two. I've been contemplating doing this because honestly, I am not enjoying this art. Now you see the title. It says my thoughts on Hoke Island so far. I originally was gonna make it like called something like Hoke Island sucks, Hoke Island is trash, my problems with Hoke Island. But I decided to just leave it as my thoughts because that's a better title that won't get immediate backlash. But yes, I do not like this art. And if you see me in the chats of some people's live streams, whether it's um I guess Tekking's live streams, although I haven't been on a lot of his as of late, or Bragos or Outer Haven, so I guess Can Lightning, whoever I can catch those, maybe even Zoro Fan went to Force, you'll know how I feel about this arc. I I do not like this arc. I think it's a subpar story arc, and I feel like this arc has some writing issues, serious writing issues, like sloppy writing. And I guess you could say this week's chapter has influenced me to really decide to go ahead and do this thing, even though I didn't think this chapter was particularly bad. Like I thought the chapter was like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. That's my opinion. I didn't think this chapter was like complete utter garbage. I think the last few chapters have been, but I thought this chapter was okay. It's like an okay to solid chapter, but you know, I still don't like what happened in the chapter. I just don't think it was garbage. Now I know some people did think it was garbage. I knew people was gonna think it was garbage when the last in the latter half of the chapter was revealed. You see, one of the things that a lot of people are pissed about with this chapter is that it has been confirmed that Sanji will be baking a cake. This is something people did not want to happen and is happening, or it's going to happen. So a lot of people are pissed off about this. Me, I'm whatever about it. Wait, hold on. I just want to see you. All right, good. I can hear myself, but I need to turn up the volume. All right, that's better. I had my computer volume low for some reason, but I can hear myself, so everything's going fine. I haven't checked that in a while, but I just assume the streams are going fine as long as I have my headphones, or whatever. But then again, when I'm doing streams, I usually do it with other people, at least one other person, so I know I'm being heard. And if I can hear that person, I would assume that everything's going fine. So it's nice that I'm getting heard back. I only want to do this crap once. I am not trying to do this again. Like I already had to muster up the thing to do this. I guess you could say I didn't want to do this because of all the backlash I would get for this, even though I've already gotten backlash for some of my opinions in the chat. Granted, some of the stuff I've been saying in the chat is just me trolling, but when you really look at some of the stuff I'm saying, I'm half trolling, half serious. But yes, I do think this is not. I do think this is like a subpart of mediocre arc. I don't think this is a good arc at all. I stand by what I said. I think this arc is a 4 out of 10. I think it's one of the weaker arcs in One Piece. I don't think now. I'm not. I wouldn't say it's the worst arc ever, but it's a lackluster arc. Granted, I don't think this arc had a strong start to begin with because it was kind of slow, but it wasn't bad. I mean, you had the seducing wood stuff that was whatever. It wasn't bad. It was just slow. But I did like the what you call it? What's that thing called? The Luffy versus Cracker fight. I know quite. I know a lot of people don't like that fight, particularly the way it ended. I thought the fight was okay. I think it's actually one of the better fights after the time skip. That's just my opinion. Because I want to start with the stuff I actually did like about this arc before I start, like, I guess you could say, quote unquote, taking a dump on it. So I like the Luffy versus Cracker fight. I like the Aru tribe, and I liked Sanji's interactions with his family when he first, like, when he first actually met up with them. Like, that stuff I enjoyed. I think that's about it, really. I think that's the only stuff I really enjoyed. Oh, I guess Big Mom's song when she was doing the whole singing, the whole musical act. I usually don't like musicals, but I actually did like it, especially in the anime. So I actually did enjoy that part. Unfortunately, there's more stuff I dislike about this arc that I did like. I did like some of the component stuff because I actually like components of character. So that stuff was cool. Now, for the stuff I don't like, and there's a lot of it, I don't like the way Big Mom's crew has been handled overall. Because I'm not a fan of all the plot-induced stupidity that this crew has received, especially in the latter half of the arc. More importantly, when the whole wedding cake happens, when Straw Hats intervene, when they interrupt the wedding, because all they did was just stand around and do nothing. I don't like how incompetent they've been. I don't like how idiotic they've been either. Big Mom as well, but at this point, I've just accepted that Big Mom's just an idiot. She's a childish moron. So as of right now, I'm very indifferent to Big Mom as a character. I'm whatever with her. I'm not gonna get too much into her. I don't care. Like she's not weak. She's just incompetent. But her so is her crew, especially like Smoothie, easily the worst of the bunch. She's supposed to be a sweet commander, one of the top commanders of the Yonko crew, and she's done absolutely nothing but stand there. She's flat out failed in some missions, like letting Brooke, like leading Brooke to where the Pongos were, and then having him trick her. Like that was bad, and then her not just standing there, like literally just standing there and doing nothing. That was bad. Ugh, okay, what else? The handcuffs thing, that was pointless. Like I still don't understand what the point of the handcuffs was. And mind you, I think they hit the point. I feel like the point where this arc started going downhill is when the handcuffs were introduced. All right, so Reiju puts the handcuffs on Sanji, and the whole thing is that this is supposed to be like both a physical and mental restraints on him to keep him on the island, and because they bring up the whole threat of attacking the Barati, and then on top of that, his father's like, well, if you try to basically if you try to weasel your way out of this, it will destroy your hands/arms, and you will never be able to cook again. Okay, that's a pretty good setup there. Here's the problem: the resolution to it was, I think, very poorly handled because it's revealed that the handcuffs that Reiju put on was fake, thus removing any tension that had and essentially making that point plot point kind of pointless. And this seemed like a sloppy way to resolve it. Which brings me to one of the problems, one of the big issues that I have with this arc too is that, well, aside from just all the plot conveniences in favor of the Straw Hats, I feel like a lot of the plot points were resolved a little too quickly and just plain rushed. Because because here's the thing, so there's a point where Luffy and Sanji they get to meet up, and so Sanji finds out the truth about what happened with Pudding because Pudding just decides to conveniently just blab everything out while Sanji's conveniently just standing outside to able to hear it like a moron. Like this is what I'm talking about. That's just sloppy writing. Like that was just sloppy writing. Like really having Pudding tell Reiju what the plan was. And yes, I know she has the power to like remove memories from people, but that's still stupid. Like why would she do that? And considering Sonya was out able to hear it, she must have been loud with it. I know, like he was right outside, and I think the window was open, but still, that's dumb. Why would she do that? Plot convenience. That's what I'm saying. That crap was just pure plot convenience, but it's not very good plot convenience. And because Sanji was able to hear it, of course, Reiju removes her memory, but Sanji just tells her what happens. And then Reiju reveals that's when the cuffs are fake, and then she removes it, and then she just tells Sanji to leave. Sanji, he goes and meets up with Luffy. Luffy goes to meet up with Sanji because get this, I forgot this part. Pudding tells Luffy and Nami that, and she doesn't even remove it. And this time she tells them about the plan and doesn't even remove the memories. Like, how is this not sloppy writing? Like, what? She flat out just tells them. Like, I don't get that. If she's gonna do that, at least let remove the memory. Like, if you want to say she's an arrogant person, she likes to brag, fine. But to have her flat out just tell people what the plan is, no, no, I'm not buying it. That's just stupid. Like, why? And also, the straw. Because here's the thing too. Quite a few of the straw hats wind up getting captured at some points. Brooke and no, that wasn't Brooke. Chopper and what's her face? Carrot get, and I think Nami too. They all get trapped in the mirror world, but then they subdue the lady that put them in there, and then use her as a basically get out of jail free card to travel through Whole Cake without being detected for a while. And then Luffy and Nami get captured, but then they escape. I think Luffy, I think he just they just bust out of there. Brooke gets captured by Big Mom herself, but then the Straw Hats that was in the mirror do some like some cartoon nonsense, and they literally switch Brooke out with a fake, like literally right under Big Mom's nose while she's asleep, with the freaking um cloud sun a lot of bullcrap she has with her, Zeus and Prometheus and what was the other one? Napoleon, like they're all there, and they actually succeed with switching Brooke out with a fake without her ever realizing it. And this happened before. Oda using comedy as a plot device, and yes, that's what I'm calling it. Using comedy as a plot device. And see, this is the type of crap that annoys me with just the series in general, because Oda does this crap a lot, and I don't know how many people. I don't know how people feel about this. For me, it's personally, it's infuriating, and I feel like this is one of those like intelligence insulting things that happens. This is probably one of the worst case scenarios of it I've seen in this series, where I'm just like how can people how can people think this is good? Oh, but it doesn't stop there. There's more nonsense to be had. So, all right, what else happens? Ugh, there's so much stupidity at this point. All right, so Luffy and Sanji they meet up. Mind you, beforehand, Luffy and Sanji had like, I guess what you would call an Usopp moment with the whole Luffy versus Usopp thing. Only it wasn't nearly as good as that. But it's I just chop it up to basically Oda trying to I guess recapture a good moment again because because I see he tends to do that a lot. Maybe not a lot, but he's done that a few times where he's trying to recapture a moment. And this is one of those things. And yes, Sanji had a Robin moment with the whole "I want to live" thing. I think I rolled my eyes when that happened. First of all, I saw that crap coming from a mile away, and second, it was just cringy. Granted, a lot of people have made comparisons to this arc with the CP9 saga and Thriller Bark, which is essentially what this arc is, but not as good as those arcs. And which is funny because I don't even think Thriller Bark is that good of an arc. But anywho, so he has that moment, and then Luffy, and then he decides that he can't leave without saving his family, even though his family, with the exception of Reiju and his mother, treated him like crap. Now, I'd be fine if he just wanted to save Reiju, but no, he wants to save the entire family. And the reason he wants to do it is because he's a nice guy. Like, really? That's the reason why you want to do it? Because you're a nice guy? Okay. Okay, here's my problem with this. There was no resolution to Sanji and his family because they've treated him, again, with the exception of his sister and his mother, like crap. Even when he met up with them again, they were still treating him like crap. Like, even up until the point where Sanji has to actually save them, they treat him like crap. So, if that's the case, why does he want to save these people? Like, just because they're his blood doesn't mean they're his family. Because they sure as hell don't treat him like it. And even after he saved them, they still act like they're ungrateful. Oh, because he's a nice guy and this is a shonen, therefore they have to do it because that's basically what it came down to. Basically, it's a shonen because there's no really no logical reason why Sanji should be trying to save all of them. It really isn't. Maybe I'm just digging too much into it. I will admit that if that's the problem, then maybe I'm just thinking too hard about this stuff. But then again, I can't help it because I can't turn my brain off to just sit there and enjoy something because I feel like if I have to do that, then that series isn't worth my time. I don't know. I just found that to be kind of dumb. But what was even dumber is Judge, Sanji's father. Now, he wants to marry. He wants. So basically, he got Sanji just to use him as a pawn because he sees him as a failure, and he wants to, considering, yeah, he sees him as a failure. The other children are his successes. So, since he's the failure, he decides to use him to get in the Big Mom's graces, good graces, I mean. So right before the night before the wedding, him and Big Mom have some conversation, and they kind of like almost like tease each other about screwing each other over because it's like, oh well, if you, well, we'll keep out the bargain if you don't start those mess. And it looks like Judge has some. Judge is gonna backstab them. We already know that Big Mom is going to. But then it's revealed that Judge was not going to backstab them because he actually legitimately believed that Big Mom was going to hold up her in the deal despite the fact that she's a pirate. And Judge is supposed to be one of the smartest people in the series. And after that, I've lost all respect for him as a character. Like, I can't take him seriously anymore after that. Because for someone who's supposed to be one of the smartest people, a pirate, and a Yonko pirate, no less, to to keep that deal without any contingency plans, despite acting like he was going to have one. Like I feel like that's a huge problem there. He cried like a little, I don't have a problem with him crying, but the reason as to why he was crying made him look, weak. Because he put himself in that situation. He's a moron. He deserves to cry. He deserves to yeah, he deserves to cry. And then his children was basically making fun of him. I thought that part was hilarious. Like I have no respect for him as a character anymore. As far as him from a combat standpoint, I was like any hype that he had was already lost after his clash with Sanji anyway. Because his clash with Sanji was very unimpressive. And because I did think that Judge was the strongest of them, I didn't really see after seeing that clash, I didn't think any of them were going to be that powerful. I know a lot of people thought Ichiji and Nichiji were going to be really powerful because they were like Sanji's rivals, I guess, when they were kids. But here's the way I see it: just because they they were stronger than him when he was a kid or whatever, doesn't mean they're gonna be stronger than him now. And I guess it's also a good point to say that just because these guys are a family of a main character doesn't mean they're gonna be like OP or anything like that. And sure enough, they're not. They're not weak, that's for sure. But I'm saying they're no stronger than Sanji is. Sanji has already shown that he's clearly stronger than all of them, which I already expected. So I'm not really disappointed in that front. But I just feel like the way they were handled overall was disappointing. Now, going back into my other issues, the other reason why I feel like Luffy and Sanji could have just left is because aside from saving Reiji or even the entire Vinsmoke family, they had no other reason to stay on the island. And you could even argue that all they had to do was go to the Vinsmokes and get them to leave. Use Reiju if need be. Because they would listen to Reiju and just leave. Like they didn't have to stay. It seemed like they only stayed because they allied with Capone, which I'm not really sure what the point of that really was. Like the whole Big Mom assassination plot just seemed kind of pointless. It just seemed like it was just there for the sake of just having the wedding because the wedding and as well as the Tamate Bottle Box was, it was built up for a while, so it's one of those things where it had to happen. That's why I say I don't think that was handled very well. All right. So let's see, where was I? I think I was talking about the So basically, I think where I left off, I was talking about no way out situations. So basically, it seems like in this arc, Oda keeps creating these no way out situations for the Straw Hats, and then having to make these plot conveniences in favor of them, so he can bail them out, which is essentially writing yourself into a corner. Now, I brought this up in the chat, and a lot of people seem to be in denial about it, but that's basically what's happening here. Oda is writing himself in the corners, and therefore he has to bail them out with some type of BS or whatever. That's basically what's happening here. Like the cake, when the cake fell, that could have been it. That could have been the thing that allowed for the Straw Hats to escape and all of them get off the island. But no, then we in like another chapter, do we get into another no way out situation? Because now apparently Karakuri wants to finally do something, so now he's on the ship. He's waiting on the ship now, along with Peril Sparrow, which now means that they have to get them off the ship. And on top of that, Big Mom's on a rampage. And then another situation that could have got him out of this was in the last week's chapter when Nami used, what was it, Napoleon? Whatever the cloud's name is, I forgot. It was either, I think it was Prometheus. So she gives her she has to climb at that thing. She uses the lightning clouds to feed it, and she basically offers it to be her servant, to be her minion. And it kind of sort of agrees to it for a while, and she keeps feeding it until it goes off, and then it attacks most of the crew, whatever, and creates a huge crater that Big Mom gets trapped in. But since she's still in a rampage, she just gets out of it. I mean, I'm not saying this needed to defeat her. No, I think it's fine that she came back up. What I'm saying is that they could have used that time to at least get on the ship. But no, no, that's not what happened. So, and this is last week's chapter, mind you. So this basically means that last week's chapter was pointless now. And you have to ask yourself, what was the point of that one? I might need some water. Because when I start talking about stuff like this, my throat gets dry. So now, so I guess that brings us to this week's chapter. So yes, so now Brooke and Chopper is now confronting Karakuri, Peril Sparrow, and all the minions that they have with them on the ship. Luffy and them are on their way to the ship, and Sanji is teamed up with Pudding and Chiffon to bait the cake. Oh yeah, by the way, Pudding is I don't know what to say about Pudding. Like her character just seems all over the place. Cause I guess she's supposed to have like a personality disorder, I suppose. Because Sanji said a compliment about her, and then all of a sudden she just melts over him, and now she seems to be kind of contemplating whether or not she should like him and help destroy Hathor, or she's just to work with Big Mom. And now the situation is just turning into a gag at this point. It's a well, I guess it depends on whether or not you find it funny or not. I'm just to it. Then again, I don't really find a lot of the gags in One Piece to be funny. Period. So don't go by me. Anyway, so this week's chapter it confirms that Sanji will be baking the cake, and this is the one thing a lot of people were dreading. At this point, I considering all the other nonsense we've had in this arc, I don't know even know if that's the worst thing that could happen. I would consider one of the worst things that happen is that Big Mom becomes an ally for them, which might actually happen if this I guess if Sanji succeeds. Well, that depends on whether or not he actually like poisons it or something, or like put something in to put her to sleep. But if Big Mom actually winds up like becoming an ally for them, yes, that would be completely awful to me. But yeah, she's gonna bake the cake. Whatever to it. I could be mad about this, but again, considering what's happened so far, I don't even think it's the worst thing to happen now. So I'm just whatever towards it. But a lot of people do not like this chapter. A lot of people have rated it like fives, fours, threes. I've seen some threes. People do it. I've heard people say this chapter is absolute garbage. While I don't agree with that, I can understand why. But I think, but again, this goes back into what I've been saying. Oda's been writing himself in the corners in this arc. You can even argue this entire arc was basically him writing himself into a corner by having them confront Ayako this early to begin with. Granted, they never came in to fight Ayako; they just came to save Sanji. But it would be nice if, like, if he's Oda himself remembered that. Because if that's the case, then what was the point of them trying to, allying with Capone for the Big Mom assassination plot? Like to me, that was pretty much counteractive to what they were trying to do. That whole section just seems really unnecessary and just there to drag the arc out longer. Yeah, I'd say this arc is kind of a mess. Like I said, I don't think it's the worst thing that's happened in this story, but it's not the best thing either. No, what am I talking about? This arc is lackluster. I already pointed out some sloppy writing. Maybe perhaps you might perhaps you guys might not think it's too bad, but I guess you could say by itself it's not bad. But when you accumulate all of this and this happens in succession, yeah, it starts. Yeah, then it starts becoming a problem. Of course, you have a lot of people that's also defending this arc. I can't take this arc seriously anymore. Oh, well, I'm already checked out of this arc. I've already wrote this arc off as a subpar arc, so I don't even care anymore. Another reason why I also decided to do this because apparently Mugiwara Mappy on Twitter said that he's going to be taking a break from One Piece for a while because apparently this chapter really pissed him off. I didn't think he was going to be that mad about the whole baking the cake thing, but apparently he's really mad about it. If he has a video out, I'm going to check that out. But yeah, a lot of people are not happy about it. So I guess that kind of raises the question: what's going to happen next with this? For me personally, I'm just waiting for I'm just waiting for on the Revering Wano Kuni. Like overall, I don't like how Oda's done this arc. I don't like how the Big Mom Pirates have been betrayed, portrayed. I'm not a fan of how the Vinsmoke were portrayed either. I mean, both groups have basically been portrayed as incompetent morons. The Straw Hats feel like they have like the biggest amount of plot armor ever. I think I'm probably going to end this soon. I don't know. I'm not sure how long this has been going on now. All right. Oh, it's almost 40 minutes. I think I've got my point across about how I feel about those arcs so far. I pretty much I don't like it. I really don't. Like I said, I feel like this arc has him sloppy writing. I think Oda's been writing himself in the corners. Oda needs to stop with this no way out stuff with the Straw Hats. Obviously, they have to survive to for the story for the story to progress, but it has to be done in a way that's believable and it makes sense. Because when you do it like this, it can take you out of the story. Because it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. Why isn't like seriously? How are you gonna have the character just stand there and do nothing? Like that's one of the most nonsensical things you could do. Ugh, whatever. I could also touch on the whole Lanji meme that Sanji is becoming now, but at this point I don't care about that either. Anyway, rate, comment, subscribe. If there's one thing I will say that this arc has been good for, it's characters like Brook, Pedro, Jinbei, and I guess Nami. But that's about it. Anyway, rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys later. I'm sorry if this wasn't completely coherent. I just needed to get my thoughts out. That's why it's called thoughts of, not like actual like review or discussion or anything like that. And I didn't want it to become like a full on rant either. Like, I do want to discuss this on a future live stream with some people that's following this, just to kind of, I guess get some feedback on whether or not how they feel about the arc. Because so far, the only person I really know who's I know I know how Yusuf feels about it because I've been doing live streams with him for a minute now, and I know how Mugetsu feels about it. I know he doesn't really care for it, but I want to get more into why everyone feels the way they feel about it. So expect that sometime in the near future. Hopefully, we can do it this weekend, but we'll see. That's the main thing I want to discuss in the next live stream. So, rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. And by the way, how do you guys rank Whole Cake Island as a whole, and where do you think it stacks up with the other post time skip arcs? For me personally, I think this is the weakest post time skip arc so far. The way I rank, like I said, I think Whole Cake Island is a 4 out of 10 as an arc by itself. And as far as how I rate the post time skip arcs, I do like this. Punk has it first. Oh no, actually scratch that. No, Zao first, then Punk Hazard, then Fishman Island, then Dressrosa, and then Whole Cake Island. Again, I'm hoping that the Reveri and Wano Kuni are better arcs. Assuming the Reveri actually happens, because there might be a chance we might just skip over it. Especially if Oda still wants to get to Wano Kuni before this year is over. I do think this arc was probably going to be shorter because we're supposed to get into both Reverie and Wano Kuni sometime in this arc. I expected the Reverie is supposed to be we were supposed to be in that arc like in the middle of the year, like during the summer or the second half of the summer, and then we get to Wano Kuni either during fall or like winter, like like December at the latest. But I feel like now, in order for that to happen, either Oda's gonna have to severely cut Reverie short, which he might, especially if none of the Straw Hats are going to be involved. So he might either just skim over that, or he just skips the arc altogether, just to get the Wano Kuni, or he moves the Reverie arc until after Wano Kuni. But I'm not sure if he could do that unless he makes the Reverie a flashback arc. But I don't know. Who knows? So again, 4 out of 10 as an arc by itself. This chapter I give like a 6 out of 10. It's an it's a solid chapter. I think not terrible, but I do think it is set up for terrible things to come. If that makes any sense. So don't be surprised if I start giving like the rest of the chapters in this arcs like anything below a 6. Because I've already given a few chapters that already, but don't be surprised if the rest of this arc chapters range from like 5 to like 1s. Now again, I'm not sure how bad the Sanji making a cake is gonna be. I'm hoping it's not that bad. At this point, it's probably the best thing that could happen. Although it's not really saying much considering the situation we already have. You could say it's basically making the best of a bad situation, but it's still sour, and that's my overall feelings of this arc as a whole. It's supposed to be sweet, but it tastes very sour. So have a good night. Enjoy yourselves.